Hey there, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Star-Lord, Skater, Rap Monkey in the chat. How you guys doing tonight? We're just starting up for an hour and a half maybe. Trying to decompress a little bit here in the middle of the week. Skater Rap Monkey is doing amazing, and I am glad to hear that. Whenever I hear an answer like that, I love it because, for example, at the workplace, you cross paths with many different people throughout the day, and you always ask them, hey, how's it going? And you always get some trite, tired, automatic, memorized, reflex kind of response back. Nobody's paying even any attention to what you're really saying. So if somebody puts a thought together and says they're doing amazing, I like that very much. So I hope we can keep you feeling amazing. Skater Rap Monkey. You guys let me know if the sound is coming through okay. So we have a few items to play with tonight. You see, one of them is, of course, the worn paper bag from the recent Scrabble video. I may not even need to open this bag up, frankly, because I sure hope this is coming through on the microphone well, because it has a fantastic sound when I just go like this. It has this slightly muted, just this great warm and worn sound. Something about all of the layers kind of interacting together, perhaps. It's very cool. Thank you, Skater Rap Monkey, for the sound check. Sound check. That's like we would do on the college radio day. Sound check, sound check. So that's one item. Next item. This is from the film camera video. This is the 28 to 80 millimeter zoom lens for the Canon AE1 program, but we're not even going to take it out of its bag tonight, because the reason it's here is because I remember thinking at the time I made that video, that this sound, the sound of the faux leather bag with the lens still inside, just made a great handling noise. Thanks for that, Star-Lord. I appreciate it. I think you're talking about the camera video. So we've got this faux leather pouch, lens pouch with the drawstrings. And if anything doesn't work for us tonight, we will, of course, cast it aside, but hopefully this will work as well for us tonight as it did in the video, and we can spend a little more time with it. Are you asking me, Rat Monkey, if it's storming here? We have had some rain come through in this part of the country recently. It was a really wet weekend. My band played a charity event on Saturday. We were there just after noon, and there were 5 or 6 bands that were scheduled to play, and we had 1 hour sets with half-hour changeovers in between, and we did our slot from 12:30 to 1:30, I think it was, and within a half hour or so of us finishing, the rain started, and it was one of those, the front was very thin. It was narrow and very concentrated and fast moving, but very very strong, and it really well, frankly, it was blowing tents over, and it was ruining merchandise and things that people had in the tents, and this whole charity event just basically had to stop early. And we've played this thing for 10 years, and it's the first time anything like that has happened. So yeah, we've had some very turbulent weather here lately. Hey, Rowan Higgs, formerly ASMR Apprentice, formerly Rowan something else, I think. I can't remember what your name was before. Anyway, I'm getting distracted with stories and not talking about our items for this evening. Here's item number 3. Rowan Turner, that's right. Thank you, Rowan. I apologize that I forgot that part. So this is a 6-inch flash bracket. If any of you have been paying attention to the junk drawer playlist, you've already seen the flash bracket. This is the item I showed in the gimbal tinkering video that I uploaded last weekend. And it's got these universal 1/4-inch little threaded knobs on it to insert into a camera body or a cold shoe, as we have on this side. And so it makes some nice metally mechanical noises. Rowan got my diploma today. Oh, Rowan. Congratulations. If you don't mind me asking, and I apologize for not knowing, is that college? Is that high school? Where are you at with that diploma? And just congratulations. That is fantastic, fantastic news. It's pouring rain with lightning and thunder where Skater Rap Monkey is. Honestly, I kind of wish that it was thundering here. It would be a nice piece of background ambiance for the stream, wouldn't it? If you've heard, if you listen to relaxing ASMR at all, it seems like all the videos he puts up anymore have rain and thunder in the background. So it either thunders there all the time, or he strategically times his sessions for the weather to get that extra ambiance. High school, had to drop out senior year to help my mother through a crippling illness. Wow, man. Respect. Yeah, I hope she's okay. So this is item number 3 that we have this evening. And if anybody sees anything from these items that they want me to kind of start with, as you know, we kind of, if you've been here before, we kind of absent-mindedly play with these subtle triggers while we're chatting in on the stream. So we're kind of trying to make the stream about half about the triggers and half about kind of sharing what's going on with us and just chatting it up and seeing how everybody's doing. And so here's our last item. This is a slate. This is a slate coaster. It's black to keep up with the black theme that I apparently have going on the stream tonight. So this is a coaster made of slate. And this is just a simple rock that I pulled from the yard. And I was going to see if these two things together might work well for some interesting stone-oriented triggers. I know that I'm going to have to be very careful with these two items. We don't want anything too jarring or sharp. but we also don't want like a like a nails on the chalkboard kind of a sound. So let's see what this does. It's got the sharp, it's got that kind of tapping impact sound when you just bring the two together, but then we've got the stone on stone sound. The thinness of the slate kind of gives us a kind of a high pitched resonance. It's like the slate has got a high vibration in sympathy with the scraping of the stone. So I don't know if this is good or not. Justin Finn, welcome, Justin. Shipping out to boot camp. Glad to be able to catch one more stream. I appreciate you being here, Justin. Where are you going to boot camp, and when are you leaving? Did Terrar tell you who the winner was from the Idol video? No. Was there an announcement or something? Did he? No, I haven't been told. I mean, if you're talking about episode 4 that I was in, I certainly assume ASMR Muzz won that thing. I'd be shocked if he didn't. Hey, Richard Betancourt is in the chat. Hey, Richard, how are you? Hang out and relax for a while. We're going through our 4 trigger items for this evening. So no, I don't know about that episode 4. Much of a reason to keep it, hold it open for forever and ever. Things are okay with me, Richard. I haven't done one of these since April, and I don't know, work's been kind of crazy lately, and I assume you guys can sympathize. Sometimes you get into a rut. Sometimes you're doing the same thing every day, and it can be difficult sometimes to remember, because we forget to remember to just stop and take 10 minutes, right, to just slow down and kind of gather your thoughts and kind of recenter a little bit. And I don't think I've done that in a little while, and I thought, well, hanging out with you guys on a stream is just frankly one of my favorite things to do, and it kind of brings the world to a stop for an hour and really forces me to slow down and focus on these small things that we're doing here, and read your guys' comments and chat back and forth. And that's a great use of my time, because it makes me feel better. So that was long overdue. All right, so I have those 4 items. I'll let you guys tell me, what do you want me to start with? Paper bag, lens in the leather, the mechanical sounds of the flash bracket or the slate coaster. Let me catch up on the chat. Shane K is in the chat. Hey Shane, thanks for being here. Justin's going to north of Chicago. Can't wait for the weekend. Me too, Shane. Joseph Paul, thanks for being here. Rowan's going to Paris Island. Oh no, we have a tie between the slate and the flash bracket. Oh my gosh. Well, since I just put the slate down, let's spend a couple of minutes with the flash bracket, and I'll try to not to spend too long with any one. And if I do, you guys knock me around and remind me to switch it up. Sometimes if I get into too much of a zen state, I might not realize how long it's been. Justin, are you saying your grandfather? Are you saying your grandfather was at boot camp at Paris Island? Or maybe stationed there afterwards? Oh, hey, before I forget, and I hope you guys have seen this already, but if you haven't, the first episode of the big Atlas collaboration with me, ASM Arctica, Let's Find Out ASMR, and Tingles with Flyby got released recently on the first Monday of the month. That first episode is up at ASM Arctica's channel, so if you haven't seen it, I invite you to check that out. We've got, our plans are to release one of those on the first Monday of every month, and the way it sits right now, we shot enough content to do 9 of those episodes. Wow. 3 generations of the Navy, and then Rowan's going to the Marines. So your family has a long history of service. That's very cool. I think I will be hosting the 4th episode in that map collaboration series, which means the September one will be the first one that I'll host on my channel. This rock is a bit like a piece of chalk. It tends to leave faint markings on this slate. The sound of this slate is very much has everything to do with the thickness. This is pretty thin. If it was twice this thickness or even thicker, we would get a completely different character. There's Error ASMR. Welcome. It's fun doing these unannounced surprise streams. It's always fun to see who will show up. It's great to get a small group together who are willing to speak up in the chat. It's like sitting around a table late at night, kind of recapping the day. Thanks, Skater. I appreciate that. I don't know, it's that feeling like you've just come back from accomplishing something or doing something. And you just want to connect for a few minutes with some other humans. Do you ever get that feeling? You're working hard or going to school and surrounded. You can be surrounded by people, running into them all day long, talking even, doing business with them or interfacing for school or whatever it is. But then you get down to the end of that, an end of a day like that, and you still feel like you didn't connect with anybody. You ever feel like that? It's all on the surface, It's like people are just kind of bouncing off of each other. Yeah, Skater, I do have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Oh gosh, slight sounds. That is so cool that you're here. Thanks for stopping in. That is awesome to see you. I absolutely love your videos, Slight Sounds. We're just hanging out. I got 4 little trigger items here, and we're just the chat is bossing me around and telling me when to switch to new items because they're very demanding like that. Yeah, Skater, I spent a lot of years reading to the kids at night. It was one of my favorite things to do. My daughter in particular became a voracious reader. I certainly hope that hearing, my voice at least on half of the nights, every night at bedtime, contributed in some way to that. I didn't always use this voice, though, particularly with the Harry Potter books and the Percy Jackson books. There's a lot of opportunity to interpret and act the parts as you're reading them. And I try to do that a lot. I'm not a big fan of people who read like robots. I think it's important to try to embody the work as you're reading it. It should affect you in some way as the words pass through you, and that should come out in your voice, I've always felt. My children are 14 and 17 now. Hey, Nate Burns is in the chat. How you doing? Could you take Dumbledore in a fight? As long as I'm not magical and he is magical, I'd probably have to say no. I'm really glad I found this this bag in that Scrabble game. It is just amazing. At least it is here. It almost sounds as if it has padding inside, like a padded envelope or something, but it's just a bag. It's been shortened. You can tell I've cut it off here on this edge years ago so that we didn't have to reach as far down inside to get the tiles out. It's awesome. Joseph Paul asks one of the most important questions of life. CSRT forever. Stress, anxiety has vanished. Oh man, that is the best feedback I could ever get, and I appreciate that. And I am using this for the exact same reason. So, and it's working on me too, so that's good. Joseph Paul, with your question. Kirk and Picard. So, you have to understand, I am of an age that means that when I was coming up as a kid and watching Star Trek after school, that was the original series that they were showing in reruns. So, you know, Next Generation was not a thing yet when I was young. So original series characters were the first ones that I had exposure to. Next Generation came out when I was in college, and so the big thing, you know, we were all geeks and, you know, nerds in engineering programs, so we were all very excited about the possibility of a new Star Trek series. So it came out in college, and so we'd all gather in the big lobby of one of the residence halls around the TV and check out season 1. And if you know anything about Next Generation, you might agree with me that looking back in hindsight, a lot of the best writing and stories in Next Generation didn't really kick in until, say, late season 4 into season 5. That first season was a little bit rough, and it even seemed rough at the time. So when you ask about Kirk versus Picard, it's a little bit unfair because I was used to Kirk. Kirk was the captain of my childhood, and I had to get used to Picard. But I stuck with it, and by, you know, season 4, season 5, when they really started firing on all cylinders, I had no problem with Picard, and Patrick Stewart is amazing. So I definitely warmed up. I warmed up to Picard. And speaking of Picard and Patrick Stewart, my all-time favorite Next Generation episode is The Inner Light. Don't know if you guys are down with your Next Generation episode titles, but The Inner Light was the episode where they came across the small little probe out in the middle of space, and the probe kind of shot a beam and kind of attached itself to Picard, and then Picard ended up like living an entire lifetime as this dude from a planet called Catan that has since, you know, died because their sun went nova. And if you guys aren't familiar, you know, Next Generation is on Netflix, and you can probably see it, you know, in a bunch of other places, but I would definitely point to The Inner Light as amazing writing, and Picard's or Patrick Stewart's performance in there, Margot Rose's performance as Helene, his wife, Patrick Stewart's son is also in that episode, playing his son, the one who, you know, wants to take up playing the flute professionally. That's Patrick Stewart's son. So it's just I watch it multiple times a year, and it never ceases to deliver just an emotional impact It never wears off. Hey, let's find out. Rich, what's going on? Inner light. Yep, you know what's up. Watch other nerds who can appreciate it. Picard's flute experience trumps Kirk's unflappability. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, Rich, I just talked about the collab, episode 1 of the collab video a few minutes ago. So Rich has got an awesome part in that first episode. The whole collaboration has been just a cool thing. Slight Sounds asks about ASMR as a kid. You know, I guess I'd have to say, I mean, the biggest thing I would always point to would have to be Bob Ross. Although, you know, when I talk about ASMR as a kid, I can't necessarily vouch that I had the actual tingle sensation versus just a very compelling calm and relaxation. But Bob Ross definitely had that effect. I had that effect when watching golf on television. The tone and the cadence of golf commentators would put me in that similar space. I would get a similar feeling from the dental hygienists at the dentist's office when they would come in and do their thing before the dentist came in. Something about that personal attention experience would put me in that same space as well. What about you guys? Everybody who's participating in the chat, I'd love to hear about early ASMR triggers or experiences. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit here. Hair brushing and back tickling, yeah, those are powerful. That plays a lot into the, the theories about a connection between ASMR and perhaps grooming. The whole, is it tied to perhaps, evolutionary grooming practices that I think that has things like back tickling and hair brushing, I think, play right into that very well. How about any older relatives talking, storytelling, doing crafts, cooking? Well, you guys might remember from my ceramic chess set video that my mom did craft ceramics, the slip cast kind, where you use the plaster molds and you pour a liquid clay into the molds and you pour them out. It was a big craft thing in the 70s. And so the front room of our house, Mom had turned into a ceramic shop. and she ran it, out of the house for a while. And so the front room was filled with the wooden shelves along all the walls, and there were what we call greenware, the state that ceramics are in before they are first fired in a kiln is called greenware. And so it's essentially just dried clay, but it's very fragile. If you put any pressure on it at all, it'll break in your hands. So the front room was filled with these greenware pieces of lamps and Indian figures and all the crazy stuff that was popular as craft ceramics in the 70s. And when Mom would clean the seam ridges off of the ceramic pieces, she had a lot of the specialized little scraping tools that you would use for taking those seams off. And so the process of working with those ceramics and cleaning the seams, using the damp sponge to kind of clean up the dust, that was a very tactile process with a lot of scraping, a lot of knife on dry clay kind of textures. So it is very possible that a lot of the activity around those ceramics, brushes and glazes and paints, and dealing with gluing marbles into holes and outfitting lamps with wire, music boxes, right? The click, 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 click. When you wind up the main spring on a music box. Yeah, as I think about it, there's probably a ton of stuff related to the ceramic shop that would have put me in that same kind of space. Good call, Rich. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Skater, you're right. What did I start with? Oh, I started with see, that's what I was talking about. I get into a zone, particularly something where we're talking about memories and stuff like that, and I get a little lost. Give me 1 second to check the chat here. I apologize, guys. Slight Sounds talking about doctor's office visits, pretend makeovers. The airplane instructions from the... Yeah. Ah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good point. Alrighty. You guys are talking about Ephemeral Rift, looks like. Jacob L. is in the chat. Hello there, Jacob. How are you? Oh, I really appreciate that. Thanks, Jacob. We're talking about... we got a few people in the chat, and we're talking about some of our earliest ASMR experiences. What triggered us as a kid. Love to hear from you and your early experience, if you'd like to share with us. Rich likes that handling of the case. When your grandma did it. Yeah. You know, I wonder if that's just our perception, or if there's really something, you know, I wonder if the wisdom of a person can be perceived just from the way they handle things, the way they conduct their physical kind of contact with the world, you know. I know I like to think that how do I want to put this? I know when I'm discovering something, particularly something physical, and particularly something large, for the first time, you know, I mean, there's so much we can take in with our eyes, but there's something about putting my hand on something, making that physical contact. You know, I do that with the bridges. You know, we just did that bridge video. And something about, you know, it's great to walk up to one of those places and see it get bigger with your eyes, and to feel it surround you. But I always have to put my hand out on one of those big timbers, particularly in the bridges with the burr arch truss. And I got to put my hand on that arch, you know, because I think somehow when I make that physical contact, that I'm somehow making contact with every person that's walked through that bridge, every car, every horse and buggy. Like, it's not enough, you know, it's definitely not enough to just drive through and keep on driving, you know. It's like we're not meant to experience the world that way. We're not meant to experience the world as it slides by in a blur through a window. You've got to get out and you got to put your hands on stuff, you know. And I wonder if, you know, you talk about Rich talking about his grandma and talking about handling things and how your grandma seemed more graceful at doing that. You know, I wonder if that's a sensibility that increases with age. I mean, if you're open to that sort of thing in the first place. I don't know. It's just a thought. Jacob L. talks about early grade school. Teacher would help me, yeah, check work. Yeah, I have heard that. I've actually heard that so many times here recently, the notion of having somebody standing next to you and helping. Maybe somebody using a pencil. Maybe writing something extra on a piece of paper right next to you. Some example or what have you. That seems to be a really common Powerful theme. I wonder what's better, the kind of ping, the kind of high-pitched ping that we get when we make a little tap on this thing, or the scraping between the rock and the slate. I can't decide. Joseph Paul is in the chat. I apologize if I missed you before, Joseph. Welcome. Hope you're doing all right tonight. I appreciate you being with us. And I apologize if I'm zoning out a little bit more than usual tonight, and if I miss a comment and you need me to answer something, please do just repeat yourself and accept my apologies. James Ward is in the chat. Howard Bloom is bedridden for 5 years, and from that realized that our personalities are intimately linked with our physical being. Yep, I think I would agree with that. James Ward, unfortunately, is not a fan of the slate. Sorry about that, James. I wasn't sure about it. I could go either way on it. Probably need to change it up with the next thing anyway. I think I did that without even being told, so that's progress, right? This flash bracket has a second quarter-inch knob on this end that's holding this cold shoe on. So it comes off. Like I said, there's a tinkering video in the junk drawer right now that deals with this. It's got a great mechanical handling noise about it. Soft case was better, yeah. I think of the three, maybe the slate isn't quite making the cut. It's also possible that the Yeti is not friendly to the slate sound. I know the Yeti is criticized for, sibilance and some exaggerated response in the high mids, and that could actually be interacting with that scraping sound from the slate and resulting in something that's not too pleasant. Time for a bedtime story. One moment. Well, I do have a video of my favorite children's book that would probably hey, it's R. Dizzle. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate that. Yeah, I did a video of my favorite children's book that's on my channel. That's probably the best thing I can offer in terms of a bedtime story. I remember when I would do all those voices for the Harry Potter books, the kids always seemed to be complimentary about the voice I did for Hagrid. The thing is, it was kind of a big, growly voice, and boy, did it tear my throat up. Told my girlfriend is going to bed. Low key wanted. Oh man. I don't know about that, brother. Gotta keep the girlfriend happy. No, I was really happy to be able to do that one children's book. It's the only reading video I ever really wanted to do or cared to do, and I, went through the publisher and got the permissions lined up so I could do it right, because I didn't want it taken down after the fact. But once I got that done, I was good. I didn't really care to do anything else like that. That was a one and done kind of a thing. Slight Sounds asks about go-to ASM artists. I guess one thing I would have to say is, and I'm sad about this, but hey, thanks, Rich, and thanks for the compliment about the stream sound. I appreciate that. Slight Sounds, I gotta say that sometimes I go through these periods, and I'm probably in one right now, where I just don't make the time or have the time or allow myself the time to watch much content myself. And sometimes between stuff going on at work and stuff going on at home and me, falling asleep very quickly at night, sometimes these things conspire to to make it so I just don't get a chance to keep caught up on some of my old favorites, as well as trying to figure out who some of the new creators, like yourself are. I'm not sure how you popped up on my radar, but I don't, sometimes I'll go a long time before, or in between, listens, and why that's unfortunate is because sometimes if I find myself with a small amount of time to get a little content in, sometimes I get kind of picky, and sometimes I don't have the patience perhaps to really sample a lot of the newer, smaller artists that I'd like to check out, and that I might think are just wonderful. And I'll just kind of reach back into something that I know, and that I know that I like, and just kind of revisit an old favorite. So that kind of stunts my ability to get through new content. So that's a long kind of caveat, on my answer. So when you talk about go-to, a lot of the artists that I kind of come back to if I'm not in a very experimental mood would be artists that can consistently give me the actual tingle sensation. And that's because I'm mostly tingle immune these days, probably 95% tingle immune. But Sensor Adrian over in Poland has a fairly consistent ability to trigger the sensation with me, so I do find myself drifting back to him a lot. Ardra ASMR is like a wizard as far as I'm concerned. She's pretty consistent in being able to trigger that feeling for me. Ardra's got this when she does a certain kind of video, she has the ability to kind of dance on the line between soft speaking and whispering, and she can just kind of, it's like, just dance on it. She can fall in and out of her soft speaking voice and back to a whisper, just so it almost seems unintentional, that it's just kind of going back and forth on its own, and it's so subtle and so gosh, it's just powerful. If you want a recommendation for Ardra in particular, and this is, I go back to this video so often, and it's ironic because it was a video that she put out that she almost didn't upload. She was very frustrated because some other things she was trying to do weren't working out. And so she did something very simple. It's called taking L's. L's is short for losses. So she was kind of editorializing about her inability to get the video that she wanted to make made. And so she's just put this simple video with a makeup brush case together. Came out, I think it was a couple of Augusts ago or something. And gosh, that thing is powerful now. Powerful. It's Cold Hunter in the chat. Thanks so much for piping up. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Cold Hunter. I mean, I like to watch the content even if I'm not getting the actual sensation, because there is, of course, a pretty big relaxing component to it as well. You know, certain kinds of videos I can run in the background when I'm working and stuff like that with headphones in. I have to be careful about that, though. There's a fine line between kind of calming my brain and helping me to concentrate and putting me in a coma. Hey there, Scott. I appreciate the kind words. Thanks for being in the chat with us. So, slight sounds, you know, and this is me, you know, overthinking your question quite a bit, but and the reason I preface it so exhaustively is because, you know, I've heard you answer that question also, and you name, you know, you've got a great list right off the tip of your tongue of frankly artists that I haven't even gotten around to checking out yet. And, you know, when I throw out a couple of names of very big channels, you know, I don't want it to come across like I'm, you know, I mean, I'm a small channel. I feel a great deal of sympathy and connection and solidarity with other small channels. I just don't get to really absorb them and get to know them as much as I would like. So when you talk about go-to, you know, some of my go-tos are still some of the artists that I first started listening to when I first discovered that ASMR was a thing, after hearing about the NPR, hearing about it on NPR. Hey there, Scott. Thanks for being here. Do I see relaxing ASMR? I mean, absolutely. I mean, he is one of my, he's absolutely in my top 5. That guy, it's a different kind of thing, right? I really like relaxing ASMR from the, there's so many ways I can answer this question I'm trying to figure out. Relaxing ASMR was, I mean, I always had an affinity to that style of content. ASMR vids does the same kind of thing. There's just such a comfort level, you know, that notion that you're just kind of sitting across the table from somebody and kind of just talking about a cool topic, you know. The collections that guy has, he's one of those creators that you just listen to him talk about stuff and you wish you could just kind of be transported to his house so you could just kind of hear him talk even more and point out cool things that he's got on the walls. I mean, you just imagine that guy is he's just got a life of interesting experience under his belt, you know. You just get that impression. ASMR commenter, hey, thanks for being here. And welcome to the channel. Thanks for the sub. But the other thing about relaxing ASMR and ASMR vids is that, you know, I get comments all the time about similarities between our kind of manner and our style, which, you know, I find really humbling. I really appreciate that because I enjoy, you know, his content so much. But when the thought first started to cross my mind back in 2016 about maybe giving this a try, I found those two channels in particular to be almost unintentionally inspiring because, you know, when I would think about creating a channel and doing content for a channel, you know, I assume one of the questions everybody asks when they think about starting something like that up is, well, what would I do? What's my style? What kind of content would I make? And if you're asking that question and you've spent, you know, some months or years watching content yourself, you might have kind of a list of likes or dislikes, you know, styles that work for you and what don't as a viewer. And I found myself, you know, translating that kind of directly as a blueprint of, you know, what I might want to try my hand at. What I mean is, you know, I'm not really a role play guy in terms of what I watch. I don't really watch a lot of role plays, so if I'm thinking about putting my own channel together, it's not going to be a role play channel, right? If I don't really care if that style doesn't do anything for me as a viewer, I'm not going to spend time creating it myself. So when I was really thinking about that, I think about relaxing ASMR, you know, when I would watch him just talking, just having conversations, showing you things, you know. The thought would cross my mind, you know, if I ever did something like this, you know, this approach really makes sense because I think this is what I would do too, you know. People talk about creativity in ASMR channels. You know, is that content, is this content or that content? How creative are they? How creative is that artist? And it's an interesting argument, you know, the merit of how creative you are thought to be. And it's interesting to me because I don't think I've ever given a second thought to whether I'm creative at all, frankly. In fact, I think you could look at the, you can look at the videos I've done over the last 22 months or whatever, and you can make a fairly compelling argument that I'm not original at all, that I've essentially done the same style of video over and over and over, and you'd probably be right. But to me, it was never about being original. It was only about being genuine. I think I convinced myself early on that the only thing I would really be good at, that I could really be convincing at, was doing content where I get to be myself. No one else can be me, right? No one else has my specific life experiences. No one has my memories or my stories, so I figured the only thing I would really be good at is just being me. So that's all I've tried to do. And so, relaxing ASMR was a bit of an unwitting inspiration, because I feel that that's exactly what he's doing. I think you're hearing him, right? You watch his videos, you're getting to know him. Whenever he shares something he likes or tips his hand a little bit about a memory or something he did in his past, that's real. That's real stuff. And I guess I'm trying to do the same thing. It's all I'm trying to do. It's all I'm trying to do is be genuine here, Sorry guys, I'm rambling. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit. Jake Torgerson, welcome. If I haven't acknowledged you yet, thanks for being here, Jake. I think he commented once on a video you did. I don't know. He doesn't do that often. I've commented on his videos before, but I'm not sure if he's ever commented on mine. Scott, your comment about just sitting there with relaxing ASMR, feel the same with yours. Sit and listen. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Scott. Hobbies and interests make for good videos, I think so too, if for no other reason then it's easy to talk about, right? Because it's already something that I'm enthusiastic about. Or even if I'm just a little bit into a topic, it can be a good launching pad to do a little bit of research, right? And find out more about something. College radio, yeah. Paper sounds, yeah, I'm digging these paper sounds. No one else has your magnificent beard and voice. Well, Wandering Whispers ASMR has a pretty amazing beard. If you like, if ASMR beards are your thing. There's a guy named James ASMR that had a pretty awesome beard as well, but he kind of faded away on us. I feel sad when I see, these channels and these content creators with so much potential, and they seem to get off to these great starts, and then real life kind of takes them away, Maybe sad is the wrong word. I mean, real life is real life. You gotta prioritize things correctly, but sometimes these channels, they'll do videos for 6 months or so, and then poof. You always wonder what happened to them. You wonder what kind of a creator they could have evolved into if they gave themselves a little more, if they were able to prioritize it a little bit higher. And that's not a judgment. We all have our things that we got to do. Jake asks about, outside of the channel, do people ever tell you have a uniquely relaxing voice? Well, my wife would always accuse me of having a bedroom voice. That's her term. But aside from that, no. In the workplace, my voice doesn't really come across as relaxing. My particular range and stuff actually makes my voice kind of ill-suited for noisy environments. If I'm like in a bar with the band or something like that, I have a very hard time holding a conversation with somebody in a loud room. My voice is really bad at that. Yeah. You bring up Rafi, but I mean, he had the college thing going on. He just graduated, as a matter of fact, so it wouldn't surprise me if we see him start to reactivate his content over the summer sometime. He's got an interesting combination of technique and personality that I think contributed to his channel getting so big so fast. Hey, Slight Sounds, thanks for being here. Looking forward to your next video. Sleep well, okay? I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Yeah, personality does help. I'll save the usual self-deprecating humor that I would insert right at that moment. Sorry. Thanks for that, Scott. I appreciate you guys too. Yeah, quick session here on the stream was just what the doctor ordered today. Cold Hunter asks about the biggest amount of viewers you've had on your streams. I think the largest number of concurrent viewers I've ever had on a stream is in the mid-20s, 24, 25, 26. Right in that range. And on the one hand, that might seem kind of small and sad, but I will tell you that, you know, whenever I pop into a really a stream for a really big channel, I generally don't stay very long because the chat is going by so fast, because there's thousands of people there that you can't interact with anybody. You can't have a conversation. And then the content creator can't really interact with the chat either. You know? And I like streams where it's kind of half content, like this stuff, and then half interaction. I think that's the perfect stream. So, you know, having a really small channel means you have really small streams, but the good part about a small stream is that you can have a conversation like we're having right now. So that's good. And he also asks, sorry, I gotta go back up a little bit. And your most viewed video, that is by far, by a pretty big margin, my first ASMR maps video. My top 2 viewed videos are the first 2 maps videos, and then the 2 after that are the 2 videos about watches that I did. I don't have any new collaborations in the works, other than the next 8 episodes or so of the Atlas collaboration that are coming out. We're going to do those once a month. How much more internet rep you're gaining? No, I don't really have a lot of internet rep, I'm afraid. You know, I mean, before you start one of these things, you never know. Is my channel going to be big? Is my channel going to be small? Is it going to grow fast? Is it going to grow slow? It's very possible that a lot of the creators that work on a channel for, you know, a certain number of months and then fade away, you know, didn't get the answer they were looking for in terms of, you know, how their channel would end up performing. I have, you know, acquaintances that started channels within a month of me that have, you know, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 subs now. And, you know, I have almost 3. So it, you know, it doesn't look like that is the path that my channel is going to take. And then you have to, you know, you have to decide whether that matters to you or not as a creator. You know, what you're doing it for, what you're trying to get out of it, you know. How much of it is personal creativity? How much of it is reach and networking, you know? Are you twice as satisfied as a creator if twice as many people see your content? I don't know. Every creator has to, you know, answer that for themselves. You know, I've come to terms with, you know, the small clubhouse vibe that that the gas lamp channel is probably always likely to be. And I still enjoy what I'm doing, and I get to hang out with you guys and chat on cool topics, so, you know, I can't complain. We'll have the 2 years is coming up in August. We should have 3,000 subs by then, so it's fine. It is what it is. You guys are very generous and kind with your comments, and, it's all good. Skater, why are you no longer doing amazing? Are you staying up too late? Is that the problem? I'm probably staying up a little too late as well. I gotta get up in the morning. If you go from amazing to extremely superb, you must be living right. Yeah, ASM Arctica's got some great map videos. Oh, I was in the recommendations. Oh, good. The YouTube recommendations actually helping me out. That's a good thing. I will probably, just as fair warning, I'll probably wrap this up at the top of the hour, or no later than the top of the hour. I need to make sure I get enough sleep so I'm not a zombie at work tomorrow. Oh, you're crediting me for you being extremely superb. I do not know if I can accept that, sir. But I appreciate it. I must accept the compliment. Well, if you knew me in real life, you would know that I am chronically bad at accepting compliments. One of the lingering after effects of I don't know, chronic, lifelong, things some of us struggle with, I guess. But I appreciate that. Need to, okay, Scott, hey, thanks for being with us tonight. Yeah, we'll wrap this up in about 10 minutes. I'm looking forward to the next video as well, because I don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. Got a couple of hey, Dwight Brady, thanks for being with us tonight. I don't know. I haven't done this since April, so I don't do it as regularly as I would like to, and I usually don't set up an event ahead of time because I kind of like doing the impromptu thing. Although we'll definitely have a stream in August for the 2-year anniversary. Timothy 3, 5 a.m. Gracious. Well, thanks for being with us. a.m. It's about 5 hours ahead of me. Thanks, Art Dizzle. Thanks for being here. Cold Hunter is in Portugal. That is fantastic. Thanks, Skater. I appreciate that compliment. I just need to figure out. Kind of missed some. I missed some videos earlier in the year, so I've been trying to play catch up because I just like kind of. Just, one of the little things I probably have a little bit of OCD about is trying to keep up on a bi-weekly schedule. But I fell off of that earlier in the year, so I've been trying to play catch up the last 5 weeks or so. And now I am caught back up to where I should be, but I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. Plus, it's summer. I mean, with respect to school, the kids are out of school, and my wife, who works at a school, is out for the summer, and so everybody's around, and it's a lot harder trying to make videos with a full house all the time. Timothy 3's in Ireland. I was watching a video just last night. Looks like it was a video from 1981 about a book binder, a small book binding company in Ireland. I was looking for inspiration for the 1925 pharmacy student video that I want to do. And I was browsing around YouTube for like artisan type videos where they show people doing very detailed things with their hands. And I came across that bookbinding video, and it was just mesmerizing. Could not look away. I love watching people who are really, really good at incredibly niche trades that are not used very much anymore. I think that's amazing. Watching those folks bind books and do custom covers and the gold leaf that you can put on the edge of pages, all that stuff. It's fantastic. See if we can, maybe rather than we won't do the scraping thing. I wonder if maybe this will be a less offensive way to use the slate coaster as our last kind of sound for the 5 minutes here. Timothy was an artisan baker by profession. Messed up one pie and now I'm not a baker anymore. Well, I still think that sounds pretty cool to me. The artisan baking thing. If you love it and find enough of a market for it. I'm staying one step ahead of you, Skater, but I appreciate your keeping me honest. Oh my goodness. No, I've got some old German coins. I was thinking about doing a video about those because my mom was born in Germany. I'd like to do a follow-up video to my old keys video, which was one of the first videos that I did. Yeah, coins. I've got, you know, a set of the pre-Euro, you know, German Deutschmark currency that Skater's a fan of the coin videos, apparently. No, there's a guy from Australia. I think it's Aussie ASMR Man or something like that. ASMR Aussie Man. He does nice videos with coins and flags and stuff like that. He's got some nice coin videos that have been inspiring me a little bit. So yeah, I don't know what the next one's going to be, but then I'll be completely caught up and I can kind of settle back into my regular bi-weekly schedule, because I won't be able to keep up a weekly schedule with, you know, school out and everybody in the house anyway, so we're kind of in the home stretch. Hey Rowan, have a good night. Thanks for being with us. I am going to start saying my farewells as well. We can wrap this up at the top of the hour. If you ever have like old stuff, like miscellaneous vintage objects, yeah, I got a few of those things lying around. I've got an old typewriter I was thinking about doing a tinkering video on. The platen on this typewriter is essentially ruined because it's spent too many years in a hot garage. And there are places you can send platens to have them recoated with new rubber. But the first thing you have to do is, you know, remove the platens and the rollers from the typewriter so that you can measure them, so that you can send that information in to get a quote. So I thought it might be an interesting video if I take the typewriter and do a tinkering video where I take the platen out of it. Even if I never have it recovered, you know, I'd have to take it out to take pictures and do measurements, and it might be a neat thing to do. Oh, I love rotary phones. I don't have one right now, but next rotary phone I come across in an antique store, I'm probably going to grab it. I grew up using rotary phones for sure. Okay, guys and gals, I apologize. I always say guys. I don't mean males. I mean all you fine folks. Thank you for being out there tonight when I needed you, and thanks for helping me put a nice, a welcome, quiet little respite in the middle of my work week. It's exactly what I needed tonight, and I appreciate it. And thanks for everybody who has chimed in on the chat tonight. These streams are all about interacting in the chat, getting to know each other a little better, just as all the most important thing about the videos on this channel are the comments. You know, you guys chiming in, continuing the topics and the discussion and telling your stories. So for all of you who are participating in that and making the community what it is, you have my gratitude. It wouldn't be the same at all if all I was doing is putting out videos that nobody talked about. That's really not the kind of content that I'm doing. So you guys have made the channel what it is, and I appreciate that. Organic ASMR. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm so sorry we're getting ready to wrap things up, but thanks for swinging through. See you, Timothy. Sleep well. Okay, everybody. I'm putting the slate down. I think I like the tapping on the slate better than the scraping. And the paper bag, I think, is the MVP of the night. Okay, everybody. I hope things are well in your corners of the world. Thanks for being here. Everybody get sleep if that's what you're getting ready to do, or have a great following day, okay? And we will try to do this again sooner than 2 months. I know I say that every time, but I will try, I promise. Let's see if there's any last comments. Good night, Cold Hunter. Good night, Skater. Good night, Error. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And we will see you all next time, okay? Bye-bye. Take care.